can only imagine how hard it is to be an actor, especially in Los Angeles. What is important is to figure out how to continue doing your craft even when you're not.
Thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Before we get to the last episode of this season, I just wanted to say, if you guys like these videos, please hit the like button below. And if you like the channel, subscribe and share with your friends. This is the last episode of this season, but I'm getting ready to gear up to start a new season, which is going to be all Instagram lives or Zooms with casting directors. Speaking of which, if there's anyone that you guys want to see on or any office you want to hear from, leave it in the comments below. I'll respond to every comment and try to get in someone from the offices you guys want to hear from. And if there are any questions you guys want answered, put them in the comments as well. I'll respond to all of those too and try to get your questions in along with mine. I can't wait for you guys to see this new season as soon as we start coming out. In the meantime, enjoy this next episode, and thank you guys so much for watching. And
Wait.
And we're back! Yay. Took a little break. This is getting hot. We're sweating. There's lights on us. We're both wearing sweater type things. How do I look, Skylar? Do we look okay? How do we look? Do we look good?
Yeah.
I don't know why on a Saturday afternoon with the heat we're both wearing sweater.
Well, it is technically February still.
It's February. It is February. February 29th, leap year.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is not going to air anywhere close to this date. So, but just so you guys know, we're shooting on February 29th. Maybe just talk about the process of casting a series regular.
Honestly, it's about volume. You're reading a lot more people. Most series regulars, I'm averaging over 100. 100 if it's like a very specific role, probably closer to 200 when it's a very blanket thing. Right. You get sick of the sides from reading them over and over again.
And you know them by heart.
By day 2 in the room, I was kind of putting the sides down and trying to make sure I could just say it all without looking, so I could really focus on the actor.
But then also as you go along, it's like then you kind of hear the same thing over and over again. So
and
like
that's
someone later in the process,
it gets harder and harder to make unique and interesting choices, I think, for actors as they're coming in. So people who are really making choices or doing something different and special or match with the role really perfectly end up really standing out.
A lot of the same thing over and over. It's just like, oh yeah, they said that joke exactly the same.
When you think about it, like there is the obvious way to do almost every scene. However, that's not the only way you can do every scene, and I think it really behooves an actor to spend some time figuring out what the other choices could be, because that's going to kind of break us out of the monotony and really take a look at somebody. I mean, don't make bad choices, don't go the other way just because, but... When
actors come in, what if they're like, I prepared this 2 ways. Would you want to see both ways? Like the obvious way and then this out-of-box way, but like the risk in like going with their out-of-box ways, they could be way out of box and be so off base that you didn't see the regular way.
Going back to guest stars and co-stars, I usually say that's fine because it's a shorter scene and I'd rather just like let them do it and then adjust if it's not working. And I have also had people in the room come in and be like, yes, you did that perfectly. Now let's just play and do something different and kind of enjoy the process of finding something a little more fun. I've had people land roles from doing exactly that and us just giving them the out of the box kind of audition. On a series regular, I think we know a little more specifically what they're looking for. I would maybe let someone who prepared it 2 ways see what they're doing with the out of the box, but not get through it and stop them and kind of say, no, let's either go back to this, or if the out of the box thing is working, let them kind of go down that path.
Would you send both of the takes if they did both and they both worked?
Not always, because I think that there's usually one that's stronger for some reason. It's so hard because you also, like, I have a filmmaking background, so I can see how you could even edit together the take to make it stronger, and that's always so frustrating when you're like, nope, you gotta pick a take and just send it.
Oh man, I would love that if I could edit some of my takes together.
I have done it before when I really felt strongly about choices that were made on either side of a scene.
Ooh,
so, but that's like very rare because you don't have the time to do it most of the time.
Does it look like it's one take, or you can tell it's like...
I mean, you can kind of say, like, the camera messed up that moment. You're not usually doing anything that different in a scene, so like you might be slightly off, so it'll just look like like that you dropped a frame or something like that.
I've always thought about like maybe like when I'm self-taping for something and I like these choices on this take and these choices on this take, like cutting them together, but I was like, I can't do that.
It's not ideal. I've more done it with kids than anything else, and a lot of times when it's harder longer auditions for kids, sometimes they really
Okay. So, hello there. Kid casting? You want to talk a little bit about kid
so
casting?
I worked for Sid and Marty Krofft for close to 2 years. It's such a different beast. It was a ton of fun. I'm a huge nerd and I love puppetry, so like that was cool because I was working with all the things you say you're not supposed to work with. Kids and animals and then puppets. Some of the animals were freaked out and some of the kids were freaked out. Let's be honest.
Some of the puppets were also freaked out.
But such a fun and cool and different experience. It really is a whole different ball game, both in terms of casting, where the draw is coming on and working with puppets, which people are very excited about. And we got like Kate McCucci, we had John Heder, we had like a ton of just very cool people coming through and do a ridiculously fun, crazy kids show. What is really special about kids casting or kids show casting, and on the adults' perspective, is it's not about like a name at all. It's not about credits. It really just is about talent. So I know Nickelodeon is the same way. They're interested in a lot of comedians, a lot of people who can be a little broader but also kind of keep it entertaining, keep it fun, and kind of keep the scene alive. So it's cool to see a different kind of talent pool for that. And then working directly with kids is really fun. It's a challenge because the kids are always changing, and sometimes you'll see kids that really weren't very strong kind of shoot up and become amazing actors in a very small period of time. It's about having patience in the room, and it really is kind of about just pulling a performance out of them that you know is real and authentic, and that becomes a challenge when you're casting. I know you've done some of it as well. Something I learned that I think is very important from the casting directors I was working with at Sid and Marty Krofft was to make sure you weren't finding parrots, because there's so many kids that have been over-rehearsed and just are going to say it the way that they learned. They
rehearsed it,
and that might work for the audition, but will not work once they get to set, because they cannot spend that much time rehearsing every single line that they're given. So
and
then
they
they're
don't take
lost. And exactly.
Yeah.
That was my main thing for kid casting is, can they take direction, and then to watch them when they're not acting. And just like, can they be in the room with me and not be insane? Like, I've literally had children like clawing at the walls before. You can't send that child to set because they'll hurt themselves or someone else. And then like, are they being mean to the other kids in the waiting room? Like, these are all things that you have to be thinking through, you have to be concerned about. But I do like that I did that so early in my career, because now I'm just conscious of that in general when I'm building one of my own smaller projects. As I'm putting this together, I'm constantly thinking, is this cast gonna mesh? Thinking about the inner dynamics of it for when they're on the set, which I think is a big bonus. It's so fun to audition kids because you're always so surprised.
I mean, the ones that are good and stand out, they really do stand out. You can tell.
It's such a pleasure to find these kids who are just kind of like wonderkind.
The ones they're like, it's like, wow, oh my God, like they're listening.
Yeah, it's more likely than not, with the way the industry is now, the only undiscovered talent you're going to find is usually in kids.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the only age group that they'll let us take a risk on. So all of that, I think, is a lot of fun, and I really do enjoy the kid cast. And then you just get crazy stories from kid casting children as well.
Can you tell the story you were going to tell?
I've auditioned a lot of children, and some kids just aren't that interested in being there, and it's pretty clear their parents want them there, and they do not really.
It's kind of sad too.
It is, and that's not. So I was auditioning a child whose role literally was to be bored and then to perk up and like get excited about something. Did not do the scene like at all. Just kind of, oh wow, and then was done with it. And so I tried to like give him a note to say like, okay, well, let's just think about a time that you're really bored. What can you just think about that time that you're really bored with me? And he just looked at me and goes, yeah, I'm real bored right now.
I thought that you were going to say that.
And it was so refreshing because it was something that no
honest.
adult would ever say to me.
Yeah.
It was super honest in the moment. I was like, okay, well, cool. I was like, let's use that, shall we?
God.
So it's a lot of like little stories like that when you're auditioning kids that they're just, you know, super eager to tell you something or super
Right,
ridiculous.
when they get passionate about something, they get really into their storytelling.
Yeah.
Do you know what makes me think of that episode of Friends where Joey... Do you watch Friends?
Yeah.
Like, there's an episode of Friends where Joey is like... has like a co-star or something, and he's like in a hospital bed, and he has a hernia or something. It's like painful, and this kid is on set with him and won't cry.
Yeah.
Kid's supposed to cry, and Hugh cried in the audition and everything like that. They go through like 37 takes of the kid not crying, and Chandler comes up and he goes, show me your hernia or whatever. And he's like, kid, come here. And he's like this. And he shows it to him, and then the kid just starts crying. He's like, we gotta cry, kid! We gotta cry, kid! Roll the camera! And it was just like an honest, like, in the moment, like, reacting.
And that is true. It's really fun in general is that kids tend, their bullshit, can I swear? Is that right? Their bullshit factor is less. Yeah, sorry guys. Their honesty factor is a lot higher. So it's cool to be able to work with the unrefined part of that.
Let's talk about commercial casting and Lisa's office and all that.
I worked with Lisa for a while. Ultimately learned that commercial casting is probably not for me because I like to be in the room and one-on-one with actors so much. But it is such a good launching ground for actors in general. I mean, you can go back and find every famous person in a commercial, not every, but most, through the early part of their career. And it's such a different beast because how you pick the people that are getting auditions, this is so much more on just a look.
Right.
So it did help me kind of go a little faster through submissions when I went back to theatrical casting, because when I was helping Lisa go through all of the submissions, kind of just seeing every face and knowing what would work and what didn't became a little more automatic. It's very different from theatrical in general, where you're auditioning maybe 15 to 20 people. With commercials, we're seeing hundreds often. I mean, it depends on the commercial.
You're not seeing them either. You hire someone to run the session.
Exactly. And when I say we're seeing, I mean the office in a whole is seeing, and I usually see it on the link.
Which is a whole different thing too, because there's like session directors,
session runners usually. I would recommend you interviewing one of them. It can be a very challenging process because you'll get your real people casting sometimes, so you're getting people that really don't even understand how to be in the room. You have to move 50 to 100 people sometimes in an hour or two to get through. You have a whole nother step of pleasing not just the producer but the ad agency. It's a very different beast, with a very different pay structure and very different schedule and everything else that goes with it.
It's all about the look, right? With people with the same look, is there something that made somebody stand out in the links? Is it like being very smiley? I don't know, or like...
I mean, I think it's understanding what you're selling, if that makes sense.
Okay, no, that does make sense.
Yeah, sometimes being super smiley will help, but sometimes that's not the vibe of what they're going for. Unfortunately, actors are going in on not that much information most of the time, so... Like,
you're getting it usually there, you're reading this.
If you have lines, you're getting them when you're there. You don't know that much about, other than what you have to wear and the project you're going in for, you really don't know that much about what the spot is going to look like.
Right.
But you can usually tell the difference between, there's a very different vibe between Budweiser and a high-level beer. And there's a very different vibe between a tech commercial and a perfume commercial. And you just kind of have to understand the essence of the product, or like the core of the product, I think, to kind of evoke that energy when you're there.
Do you think that improv works a lot?
A lot of commercials, like my friends that are successful actors, commercial actors, mostly are improv actors, and that's something that they're used to doing and are usually asked to do when they're in an audition. And truth be told, even when we're not asking you to improv, there's a lot you have to put together on your own just to get through the scene.
So in a commercial office, for example, it's a lot easier for people that don't have a lot of credits to be seen. It's because it's more about the look and stuff like that. How do you feel about people reaching out? Are people like doing drop-offs more in that kind of office?
I think there's actually less of a relationship because we're not seeing people directly as much. Now, we know some people and like would go out and talk to some of the actors that we knew, but for the most part, we'd get a lot more postcards, which again, I hate the postcards.
Right.
I would see a lot less actors. We have a lot more actors like swinging through UDK.
Were you and Lisa both picking people kind of thing? Or?
You know, I mean, Lisa's really a pro at figuring out who
would work.
Yeah,
she's
who works it and the kind of the look of the commercial. I more did it to kind of help her. Like if we were on a time cruncher, we had 3 or 4 commercials at once.
And then you did some movies and stuff while you were there too?
We did some indie features, some streaming shows as well. We created Dead Wax for the Shudder series, which was so much fun to do. Just a really kind of out there sci-fi horror project that was fun to build that world. Indie movies, of course, are a whole other beast than TV because it's all, as you know, about like attaching name actors and doing that sort of thing and getting people interested. Unfortunately, you're almost kind of coming on like a producer role to get that money, which can be difficult.
You said you had some of your projects of your own. Are those things you're casting? Or?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty picky about what I cast on my own. I think that, one, because I really want to do right by the projects I'm on in larger offices, and 2, because there's certain things that I would like to cast, and I don't want to go outside of that realm necessarily for something that's not the main part of my paycheck. So I've done some short films on my own. I did like an ultra low budget dramedy that friends of mine wrote and directed. I've attached some names onto a few kind of mid-level projects. My first casting director credit was a short film that ended up in South by Southwest and is like played the rounds. So yeah, really fun. A very cute short film directed by Bola Agun, who is now kind of shooting up as a director, that had Tracy Thompson, Sean McGuire in it. Just kind of the right kind of comedy. Everybody knew what they were doing.
You did do a little comedy.
I did do a little comedy. It was very exciting. And again, I would be more likely to say yes to a comedy project in general if someone was bringing it to me because it's something I want more credits.
Right. Are you currently doing anything, casting anything by yourself right now?
Not right now, no. I wrapped up a proof of concept short film late last year.
Any particular pet peeves you have?
I think for me it's actors that don't listen. I'm giving you a note for a reason, and I do have a direct line to the producer, and I've had actors not just not know how to take the note, but like actively not listen and refuse to take the note. So
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, because it, one, makes us feel like you don't value us. Also, I'm not giving you a note to like send you in the wrong direction. I know what the producer's looking for.
Yeah. But some actors just are just kind of stuck in their ways.
Yeah, I think they're stuck in their ways.
Or they really want their choice to be
exactly.
the choice. Oh, that's what I was going to
ask. This is the choice they're going to make, yeah.
Do you send on more than one take of each person?
I have in the past. I don't always. Sometimes there are things that are so different and so specific. I would say the most common is if it's someone with an accent, and we'll have them do it with the accent and without the accent. But sometimes, I have, when we're trying to find what they're looking for in a role, typically I will send more people and also sometimes more takes.
Anything else that you want to talk about?
I want to talk politics for 3
No.
Politics, environment, something else easy, religion, what else is fun?
How much time you guys got?
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I think the one parting wisdom I would say is I can only imagine how hard it is to be an actor, especially in Los Angeles. What is important is to figure out how to continue doing your craft even when you're not getting in for auditions or booking things. There is theater, if that's not your jam. The cameras are cheap now. There is social media. You can post shorts. I have seen a lot of my friends, because I have a lot of actor friends, who have gotten out of creative funks by just going out and doing it. And I think that that's really important, because otherwise you forget why you're trying to do this and you start getting frustrated and kind of bitter. Yeah. I would encourage everybody to, in addition to working on auditioning and whatever shows you're doing and things like that, just finding your creative passion within acting and keep working at it.
Ooh, that's a great advice and great way to end this. All right, guys, that's the end of it. Rachel, thank you so much. Sorry, this has been so informative. I've just been listening to Rachel like this. Well, thank you again so much, Rachel. I hope you guys enjoyed having her and learned something. And I will put her social plugs and stuff at the bottom. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. Maybe we'll follow up and talk about them. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
Wait.
But thank you so much. This has been so fun. Wow, yay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. You get that?